Hello everyone, my name is Raleigh and today I want to be discussing with you millennials and our money struggles. Now, I decided to make this video after scrolling through YouTube and seeing a ton of links and videos regarding millennials such as ourselves who are doing extremely awesome. In fact, they're rolling in the dough. And while I think that's extremely great and I'm super proud and kudos to those people, I think it's important to also shine a bit of a light on what the average millennial's financial situation is like. That way, we as a collective group can set realistic goals and expectations for ourselves as we move forward in our own personal futures. So with that said, let's jump into it. Let's jump into what an average millennial's financial situation is like. Now, while it's a bit of a bummer to hear, the simple fact of the matter is, well, millennials, we're struggling. In fact, according to an article published by the economist Greg Kimbrough, he found that in 2019, millennials accounted for only 3.2% of the nation's wealth, even though they account for 35% of the workforce. 35% of the workforce, 3.2% of the nation's wealth. It's quite a disparity. And in addition to that, he found that the average millennial net worth is only $10,400, which means if you add up all of a millennial's assets and subtract all of a millennial's debts, they'll only have about $10,400 left over. Now, to add some salt to the wound, the average 30-year-old millennial actually still owes more money than they have. That's right. In fact, they owe about $2,000. So if you take all of a 30-year-old's assets and minus all of a 30-year-old debts, they're still screwed. So why is that? Why are we so broke? Why is the millennial struggling so much? Now, in order to answer that, let's start off by discussing, well, the average millennial salary. The average millennial makes about $47,000 a year or $905 a week, which on paper sounds pretty decent, right? That sounds like a living wage. However, when you start peeling back the layers of this onion, you notice that that salary isn't all that it's cracked up to be. In fact, when you look at baby boomers over the same span of their lives, so when they were, for example, 30 years old, their salaries were 20% more powerful than that of a typical 30-year-old millennial today. In other words, our salaries aren't quite holding the same weight that they used to. Now, what does that mean for things that we go out and buy, right? It means that essentially things are 20% more expensive for our salaries specifically, right? So in order to keep up with the times, we would actually need to be making 20% more. Okay, Raleigh, so our salaries aren't quite what they need to be. But what about our expenses and things we need? Is that getting cheaper? And unfortunately, you probably already know the answer to this, and that's no, definitely not. Things are getting more expensive. In fact, if you look at college tuition, for example, in an article published by Forbes, they found that between the years 1989 and 2016, the cost of college tuition has more than doubled, even after accounting for inflation. And when they considered the rate at which wages increased during that time span, they found that college tuition actually became 8 times more expensive for someone looking to attain a 4-year college degree. So what that ultimately led to is the simple fact that when someone graduated in 2018, graduated from a 4-year degree, they ultimately incurred almost $30,000 worth of debt before they even got their first job. So that means they had a $30,000 ball and chain tied around their feet before they even had a means or a way of paying it off. And all in all, for millennials across the board, that debt has accumulated to be about $1.6 trillion. Trillion, not billion, trillion, which seems like a problem. The next major expense I want to talk to you about has to do with, well, purchasing a single family home. In the year 2000, the median price across the United States for a single family home was about $119,000, meaning that if you needed to come up with a 20% down payment, that equated to about $24,000. Now let's jump forward and compare that to the year 2020. The median home price of a home in 2020 for all of the United States is about $320,000, which means that in order to come up with a down payment of $20,000, you would need to have about $64,000 worth for a down payment. Now, I don't know about many millennials, but coming up with $64,000 and having it out of your pocket and just being able to present it to someone for the purchase of a home is quite a bit. And on top of that, you still have to make your monthly mortgage payments, right? And we can go all the way across the board in terms of how things have increased in price. For example, rents have increased, purchasing a car has increased, food has increased, everything more or less has increased when it comes to your ability to buy things, right? So again, I could go on, but just really quickly to summarize and move on to our next topic, things are more expensive now than they used to be, and our salaries, once again, aren't what they used to be. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. That's not why I made this video. In fact, millennials do have some pretty good things going for us. Even though we're not rolling in the dough like some of those YouTube videos might make it seem to be, again, we do have some good things going for us. And one of those I want to highlight is that we have become pretty efficient savers. In fact, according to a recent study, they found that millennials started saving for retirement at about 24 years old, which is 9 years sooner than baby boomers started saving, as they started saving at about 33 years old. And what this means is we can take better advantage and leverage compound interest and growing our retirement funds. So that way, as we get older and look to retire, hopefully we have a bit more of a nest egg built up to keep us afloat and ensure that we have a good and happy retirement. In addition to that, it seems like lawmakers are waking up to the fact that having a large group of your population have so much debt in the form of $1.6 trillion of student loans isn't necessarily a good thing, and they are working and looking to find ways to reduce the student loan burden or eliminate it entirely, which I think would be really awesome for the entire generation. And no, we're not asking for a freebie. I just think starting your life off with a huge ball and chain before you even have the means to pay it off is not necessarily a good thing. Now, I want to leave you guys with something. While I'm not like a financial expert or a financial planner or anything like that, I have found some ways and tips that have helped me reach my personal financial goals, and I'm more than happy to help and share those with you. So if you're looking for help budgeting or finding your financial goals and setting realistic ones, I'm more than happy to help you. So please feel free to comment down below or reach out to me directly. And with that said, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like. And if you like this video a lot, please feel free to subscribe. I plan to create more videos like this one that cover a wide range of topics and hopefully leave you with something that maybe you can take away and apply to your life in a positive way. And hopefully we can have some candid conversations to where maybe I get to learn something as well. So with that said, I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day and take it easy.